Well, I think 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time to have some fun tonight. Man, welcome to the GG Factor. We're about 1 week from springtime. And boy, what's on your mind? But I tell you what, there's a lot going on with me tonight. There's a lot going on with me inside me because, man, let me tell you, it's a little crazy out here in the world today. This is the last time that I saw you a little over a week ago. Man, we've had so much to go on in this country, especially from the administration, taking some very aggressive action. We're a war. Oh boy. Some kids who were supporting ISIS decided they wanted to try and blow a bomb off in New York City. Boy, there's so much going on tonight. I don't know. And how about this? We're going to talk about it all tonight. You know, I'm a 25-time marathoner. And boy, we got a guy, a substitute teacher, cross-country coach, just like I was, a teacher in high school and a cross-country coach. And this buddy-o came from behind against all odds and won the LA Marathon. So, oh boy, I tell you what, tonight we're going to have a lot of fun, but most importantly, seriously. When I stop the music, it's like this. We have to get serious tonight. There's some things going on that I've been trying to understand for a long time. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my mindset and how I feel about violence and war and people in power. And, you know, I'm always asking that question, what is it good for? Can somebody tell me what is it good for? I'm trying to get my little gadget going here. Come on, help me out. Come on, you can help me out here. Yeah, there you go. All right. Hey, listen, it's the real deal now. It's one of those things where you say to yourself, there was an old song. Sorry about that. I had to get some things happening over there. Well, I want to make it very official once again. Over to IG, the people on Instagram. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. YouTube, thank you so much. Facebook, thank you so much for being with us. LinkedIn. Go out and tell somebody that the activator's in the house tonight, and I'm giving you the Griffith Perspective. I don't have a guest tonight, but I will have a guest in a couple of weeks. His name is Trey Henderson, man. He's an entrepreneur, an incredible entertainer, a good friend, and someone who I always say is a great example of an entrepreneur, a W-2, and still making money too. And let me tell you something, man. He's a wonderful husband, a wonderful dad, a wonderful, should I say, man, entrepreneur in the community. So looking forward to that. Not next week, but the week following, he'll be here, Trey Henderson. So go out and tell somebody all about him coming into the show. He's great friends with a great friend of mine, Rachel Brown, who was here about a month ago. And we've just had a ball on this GG Factor. I'm always about inspiring and empowering you. And tonight, I don't know where to start, man. But I'm going to start with the situation that we had in New York City. All glory to God that these two young, should I say, they're warped. Anyone who wants to stand on the ground of evil is a warped individual. And what happened in New York City, two teenagers created their own bomb, wanted to drop off somewhere in New York City, but something happened out there in the name of spirit. I'm going to have to say it was in the name of spirit. I don't have my God First hat with me tonight. I'm looking for it, and I left it. And I don't have my hostess, Moses, with me tonight. Shout out to my wife, Miriam, man. Her mother at 93 years old survived a surgery and is still with us. So please keep her and the family in prayer, the Albasu family. I call it a miracle. But not to diverge. I want to stay right where I was tonight because it's critically important to understand who's out there, what they're doing, why we're trying to understand they're doing it. There are people who have a relationship with something inside of them that's clearly not very realistic. Clearly not something that should I say is a part of what we stand for in this country is you know what the Pledge of Allegiance is about. Just justice to all of us. These two teenagers representing ISIS came into somewhere in New York City. I can't micromanage exactly all the specific locations of where they were, but the point is this. You don't know who's out there. You don't know who's walking around you. You don't know what their motives are. You don't know what's should I say, just their foundation for what they wake up to every day. Now, here on the GG Factor, we try to inspire you and empower you to wake up to the reality that yesterday is water under the bridge of life. I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I do know that we have now. And in the now, for a lot of people, they live from a place of just negative, evil. And it's very scary. On October 7th, I think it was a year ago now, a little more than a year and a half ago, some evil people went into Israel. People just enjoying themselves on that day and decided to just attack a Jewish community. And you start trying to put all of this stuff together, and you still try to figure out why. I'm going to talk about WHY tonight from a different perspective. But right now, tonight, I had to bring that up and ask anyone out there a very simple question. Why? Why are we living in these kind of perilous times? Why would two teenage kids, having been on this planet not even 2 decades of their life, and decide they want to just do something radical like what they did? Let's segue now to war. How many of you remember the man, Edwin Starr? He said, war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. That song was done back in the 80s or back during Vietnam in the 70s or 60s, excuse me. I don't want you to quantify me on when it happened. But the point I'm making to you is then, he made that song, and boy, it stands still real strong within me right now. I know the reason they're saying that we're at war is because there's some sick people in Iran that want to just create missiles that could just be nuclear and literally obliterate us here in the US of A. I support the administration for taking arms against that. But man, not trying to sound contradicting, I'm still trying to understand when you still bomb a school, when you still hit innocent civilians, when you think that your diagnosis and the prognosis of what you're going to do will be very effective from one perspective, but then, dear God, they're the innocent ones. And for me tonight, I'll stand on Edwin Starr's philosophy. War, what is it good for? Because you see, until the end of time, there's going to still be someone having differences, someone saying they got a bomb bigger than someone else. It's just like the Ukraine and Russia. What the hell is that all about? Nothing but power. Nothing but power. They say the Ukrainians produce about 40% of the grain in that region of the world. And Putin say, I'm just going to take over. I want to take it. And have you noticed, the more we get into something that's, that we partner with Israel, the less we hear about the Ukraine. But it's still going on. Innocent people are still being bombed. There hasn't been a cease on that yet. So opening the show tonight, I just want to say this, there are pros and cons about war. War is very beneficial from a financial perspective for a whole lot of people, not you and I, not the people who are paying the taxes to finance it, but somebody's making those bombs, that ammunition, those tanks. Yep. I remember when Bush and Cheney was in cahoots together, I heard that they had, Cheney and the guys were setting up some big time business behind the scenes, making multi-millions of dollars. War. What is it absolutely good for? To some people, a whole lot. To people like you and I, makes you wonder. I know that the mission is obviously to keep peace. I support that. But then you ask yourself the question. You just go, do we have to go all the way into the point that, because just think about it. When you go all the way into the point that you missed your target by about 1,000 feet, and right next to that target you were trying to hit are little children in school today. I went to Mexico to do a performance. I'm in the entertainment business. I'm still living my passion in that industry. Never been a rock star, but I still get a paycheck. And I bet you my best bet, I'll continue to do it until I die. I'm going to talk about the alternative to all of this tonight. But when I went to Mexico and I went to get a little something to eat during the day while I was in between performances, and I saw just a smorgasbord of just I mean, I can't even tell you how many little innocent kids going in and out of the school. And the analogy to reality, the metaphor that I'm talking about here is when you compare, all they're trying to do is find shelter, all they're trying to do is expand their little cognitive minds. And just imagine if you just fast forward now to 2026 and you just see and hear that 1,200, I think, 23 people over there in Iran have been killed, and a whole lot of them were not people that we're trying to kill. So I ask the question again, man, do we really have to resolve it with war? That innocent people have to die the way they've done? So not to get too deep about it tonight, but I just really wanted to drop the bomb on you, man, and let you know, you got some teenagers thinking they're ISIS. You got people over there in Iran still thinking they can just tear us apart. Thank you, 47 and the boys, for protecting us here in America. You know me, I always say, if you're doing something that benefits me, I'm going to speak up about it. I woke up today, there were no bombs going off. Thank you to our administration. I woke up today and I took a 2.5-mile walk in the park. Thank you. Because somebody woke up. And if you've been watching CNN and Fox and CNBC or whatever your newscast might be, you've seen it and you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's a trend. That's something going on around us that here we go. Let's fast forward a little bit. Let's switch gears about what's happening with the ramifications of that action. There is something going on with the ramification of that action. It's called the Kohler effect that we don't forget. The pros and cons of war. When I speak of COLA, I'm speaking about the cost of living allowance, the inflationary measures that take place once we activate certain activity over here from an administrative perspective. There are ramifications for those actions, the choices they've made, the decisions they've made. Back here in America, woo, gas went up almost about $1, 50-75 cents. I had a performance the other day up in north of me, stopped, put some gas in. By the time I could go home that night and come back to gas up, gas was up 50 cents. By the next morning, another 25 cents. Today, it's almost up $1. What was $3.59 in South Florida is about $4.39. And that impedes your ability, your liquidity from a perspective of financial, should I say, liquidity. But I'm going to interject this tonight. I'm going to sip my coffee, sip my tea. I had my coffee today. I want to sip my tea, and I want you to think about this. Are you ahead of the curve when we speak about COLA, the cost of living allowance? Are you ahead of the curve? I'm speaking to my public out there, whoever's listening to me tonight. Do you have a passion that you can monetize that against all odds? We're about 13, 14 minutes in right now, and I'm going to say this to you. You better find a way to make money no matter what's going on with the economy so that you can say they're not going to deny me. I'm a real estate investor. I own an apartment building. That's passive income. I got 2 books behind me that I wrote. I can go out and stand on the platform and speak about them for the rest of my life. Are you monetizing your passion, Instagram? How about you, YouTube? How about your Facebook? Have you activated your P3? Have you taken an analysis? Wreck yourself before you, should I say, kill yourself out here trying to beat this COLA? My son Jonathan was 36 years old a few weeks ago. I sit down across the table and looked at him. I'm just so proud of my son, both of my sons. But it was his birthday. And the point I'm making about this, 10 years ago, he was graduating college. Let's fast forward 10 years later. The young lady he brought to his dinner for graduation that night, Adriana. Never met her in my life till that night. 10 years later, they're married. She's a doctor. He's in corporate security, cyber sales, whatever you like to call it. And they have a passion for it. They love it. They've involved themselves on a journey to be as one. Are you on that journey? Have you found that significant other? Have you found that light under the sun that Parliament Funkadelic would say, everybody's got a little light under the sun? You know, the little musician may have to come out every now and then. Here's my point. The only way you can beat cola, the only way you can beat inflation, the only way you can stay in the game, you got to be a W-2, but you better think about the entrepreneur in you too. I've been an entrepreneur since 1992. I started my corporation in 1992. And guess what? I became a full-time teacher in 1992. That's why I said tonight, I'm going to talk about what's trending, but I'm going to talk about what is your recourse? What is your alternative to that? What can you do when the walls start closing in you, when you got to spend almost 75 cents, almost another dollar, even if it was 50 cents? If you spend 50 cents more for gas right now, a gallon, and you get 10 gallons more, that's $5 or more, and you got to fill up and put 20 gallons, that's $10 more. And you're doing that 2 or 3 times a week, that equates to about another 30, 40 a week, about 125 more a month. The same way with food, the way it's going up. The same with healthcare, the way it's going up. It's scary out here. And I'm telling you, this is my quantifiable perspective on that. You better learn how to monetize. You better get that P3, I call it. Find your passion, activate your purpose, and the universe will give you knock, knock, knock possibilities. It will give you possibilities. Because in this war right now, I mean, look at the, you know, the pros and cons about war have been already established that, of course, we're far more protected here. Of course, we're stopping maybe an escalation of nuclear activity. But look at the cons, man. Innocent people dying. How about those 8 soldiers? You heard 47 in the organization, him Vance and the boys talking about, yeah, there'll be casualties of war, kind of casualty, like it's not even something that we got to put on a high pedestal. They signed up for it. I was with my wife's nephew the other day. He's in the reserves, and we were just sitting there talking, and I just looked at him and said, here's a young man who's willing to give his life so that I may have the freedom of speech tonight, that I may be able to get up like I did and take a walk in my neighborhood and feel comfortable to sit at the bench and have meditation and just look up in the sky and give all glory to God that I didn't see or hear a bomb dropping. Just imagine you woke up and the first thing you hear is, woo, 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 warning, warning. Oh boy. And somewhere in the world right now, that's happening. And then the domino effect of that we won't forget, becomes economic to us. Food gets higher, healthcare higher, cars we buy higher, the gas we put in them higher. But are you still staying in the same zone? It's something for you to really, really, really think about it. You know, it's spring break time right now. My granddaughter's a senior in high school. She wanted to come down here for spring break. And, you know, because of circumstances in my house, I had to tell her, I don't even want you to get on an airplane, let alone the things that I'm going through. 171 million people, shifting gears now in my conversation, are on airplanes flying around right now for spring break. 171 million people. Man, listen to this, though. They're asking you to come to the airport 3 to 4 hours earlier, and you're still going to stand in a line as long as a football field. People still are getting away. The kids deserve the break. They're expanding their cognitive abilities. But, you know, I'm right here I'm in the capital of spring break, South Florida. All the way from Palm Beach, you can go all the way Central Florida, all the way down here to South Florida. And the kids are out there. Now, they mandated some things, man, that I kind of had a little about, you know, being in the entertainment business. And I know how club owners and restaurant owners rely on their income. Man, they cut back everything because kids have lost their minds. They come here. Some of them got this obscured alternative motive about what they want to do. And then there's always this tragic situation. People are getting robbed. A few people are getting killed. It's back to my question. Do you know who's out there around you? Have you armed yourself correctly with the right mindset about how to deal with Joe Public, the concrete jungle? I'm going to sip my tea and have you think about that. I was walking in the post office about a year ago, and I'll never forget, man. A guy just walked up to me. I'm walking in the post office. Yeah, what you want to do, man? You want to do that? Yeah, I told you to get out of my way. I don't know him from Jack. And here's my point. There are a lot of people out here who are still free and walking around, but they're sick mentally. And a great percentile of them are homeless people. And a great percentile of them, here is the point I want to make. Some of them went to war for this country. And they come back here to America. They're veterans, and they can't even get the kind of attention they need. Post-traumatic war syndrome. And they're walking around us. They have flashbacks. They have nightmares. I worked with a teacher at Flanagan High School. My wife was telling me about it. She was working in the classroom with him, and he had a flashback. Some noise started going off outside, and he flashed back. He is totally traumatized from giving up his life to this country that we may have freedom. And there are people walking around out here. And here's the domino effect we don't forget. When the president administration took over, they decided to cut back on a lot of things. And guess what some of it was? Attention to the mentally ill, the disabled. I worked with the disabled population for 31 years as an ESE teacher, 7 of those as a cross-country coach. And I experienced so much about why it should be a non-negotiable to never even touch their budget. Never ever since President Kennedy enacted the IDEA Act, Individuals, Disabilities, Educational Act, PL 94142. Never forget, he had someone disabled in his family back then, and the rest we know is history. Ever since then, up until the president administration decided they want to cut back on it. And some of those people who need the attention, who like the crazy guy that just ran up on me, like he was in war or something, and I was somebody that could have been a victim of my own circumstance in the wrong place at the wrong time, like the innocent ones in Iran, the innocent ones in Ukraine, the innocent ones in Israel, Palestine. Everywhere there's been war, there have been casualties, and all of them weren't people who had anything to do with war. And when I witness people around me who are in my what I call concrete jungle, and then we fast forward and all these programs are being cut that can offer them assistance, but then we leave them free to be out here in society. No, man, that's why I said that. I don't know. I'm not a politician. Been giving a lot of thought to it, but I'm just telling you right now, when you have to arm yourself with the most important thing you can do is go inside. Because honestly, it's a random shot. When I go to my front door, turn the key and walk out, get in my vehicle and turn the key. Hello, I've walked into the concrete jungle. I went into this external world of mine. And I'm just going to speak truth to you right now. It's not so pleasant. That ISIS situation with those 2 young kids, that could have been a mini 9/11, man. That could have been just a horrible, horrible situation. They're out there. So I'm going to ask you, are you living in alignment with who you are from a mind, body, and spirit perspective? I'm about 20 minutes in right now. I'm going to just say to you, I'm offering you the alternative to empower yourself on Thursday nights. I have my Strive Masterclass, and you come into the masterclass, you can be the recipient of this book, 30 Days to a New You, free copy. I have the Get Activated Community. I have the 30 Days to a New You, Maximum Potential Coaching Community. And if you come into the camp and you decide, IG, you want to come into the camp, you get me every month, free consultation with you. If you take my 30 Days to a New You MPC, which stands for Maximum Potential Coaching, you get me 4 times a month. And we find your pain points. We find what's stagnating you. We find what's causing you to not function at your maximum potential. I've been on that Strive Masterclass for about a year now. And as rewarding as it's been to me, I really want to reach out and touch from a humanitarian perspective people who need help living out of balance. Because I'm sharing you all the perilous things that are going on. I'm sharing you the impact it has from a financial position, perspective, the physicality that it impedes on us that leads to, high blood pressure, stroke. And I'm telling you, the only way around that is to get a grip on your own reality. Find your passion, find your purpose, find your little light under the sun for possibilities. And you will get paid for the rest of your life. I want to give you an example that's very relevant to this conversation when I speak about passion. Most of us know who J-Lo is. We know who Jennifer Lopez is. She's a superstar, singer, songwriter, movie star, entrepreneur, great mother. I think she's been married now 2 or 3 times in her life, and she's still searching for her light under the sun to find the one. But what I think that she done a long time ago, there's something I call the cat effect that's always present. The CAT is this. She realized her level of compromise. She realized her level of acceptance. J-Lo realized her acceptance and tolerance. That cat effect. When you find that you can only compromise with so much because it's getting into the way of your functionality with your P3, when you find an acceptance and then you find that tolerance, I applaud her. She found a way to exit out 3 marriages, 2 or 3, I don't know, but my point is this. J-Lo getting paid $1 million a night to utilize her P3 theory. If she does nothing else in her life but sing songs, if she never do another movie, if she never even write another book, if she never even open another business, she's got fragrances, clothing lines. This woman is top shelf when it comes to the P3 theory with tentacles on it. But it all started from her love of music. It's a fly girl. Now I'm asking you, is your P3 sitting on the shelf tonight? Is your P3, your passion, your purpose, your possibilities to get ahead of the cost of living allowance, the COLA, the inflation? You think J-Lo worried about the gas going up? Hell no. I don't think so. Not if Vegas paying you $1 million a night to sing some songs and shake your booty and tootie and have a good time and go home. Woo! The Miami Dolphins released Tua, their quarterback. I think he had a $156 million contract. His passion for football. I'm talking to somebody tonight. Have you activated your P3 theory in the midst of all this inflation and COLA activity? See, you have to have that elasticity of control over your financial means, or you'll get the crunch from it and break down. All these superstars, man, they had to start from somewhere. And they started with passion. They found their purpose, and it became their infinite possibilities for success. And that's what I'm talking about tonight when I invite you into the community where I am. You take a personal assessment. You find where your weak areas are. We remediate them. You find out where you should be monetizing, but you're not. And you come into the Strive Masterclass, and we're running a series on relationships. And when I say relationships, I'm talking about the who, what, when, where, and why that you're living. What is your why? Have you discovered it yet? But who's getting in the way of that? What are you doing? When are you doing it? Where are you doing it? You know what I'm talking about, the toxic relationships. You know what I'm talking about, the bad habits, the toxic environments. Poor time management, procrastination to the point that you're like my book back here. It's entitled Activate or Stagnate. And I really had to write a book like this after just taking an assessment of what it means when you're in check with yourself before you wreck yourself from a time management perspective. We all procrastinate. Everybody can put off things because the fear of failure is stopping them. Or they don't feel they have enough skill sets to even get in the game. I wouldn't be sitting on the GG Factor tonight if I kept letting the field monster win. I wouldn't have a master class on Thursday nights. I wouldn't have these books behind me. I wouldn't have bought millions of dollars in real estate if I let the fear monster win. I hope tonight you can understand where I'm coming from. I'm a 25-time marathoner, and I'm going to shift the gears right now and bring up something that just blew me away. This is one of my medals from my marathons. But listen to me. I got to bring this up tonight because it just fired me up. Here's a man that's a substitute teacher in Michigan. He's been running cross country since he was a middle school student. He started running marathons. I don't know if he ever won one in his life, but guess what? He won the LA Marathon the other day. And boy, I was just thinking about it. I said, man, I got 25 medals. What would it feel like to see this man? And I'm going to tell you something. If you can go to ESPN or you can go to YouTube and you can see this man come from like 500 feet behind the front guy. This guy from Nigeria or Africa somewhere, excuse me, I don't know exactly who the guy who was expected to win. The guy clearly the number one seed. And guess what? He was really way out front. This man, by 1/100th of a second, beat this man. 0.01 of a second. He beat him. That's 1/10 of a second, 100th of a second. He just leaned in like that and got across the other guy. I don't know if he was just burnt out. I don't know if he was complacent. I don't know if he was just content with the position he had. He couldn't feel anybody breathing down his neck until it was too late. Maybe he did procrastinate and it cost him. Now, a substitute teacher, and here's the point I want to make that's relevant to the conversation tonight about your P3 theory. That man found passion for running. That man found passion for just coaching kids. And he said, I think I can, I think I will, and I must trust the process that I'm going to win this race. And boy, he won it. Laura Coates had him on CNN last night, and he's sitting there, man, just a cool, laid-back guy, man, just chilling out. He said, you know something? He said, it was all mindset. And if you come into my camp on Thursday nights, I'm always wearing a shirt that says mindset is everything. IG, mindset is everything. This substitute teacher. Facebook, this substitute teacher. This guy busting his butt well after hours. I can relate to him. I walked out my classroom and I'll never forget, there was 40 kids and I said, maybe he needs a help in hand with those 40 cross-country kids. And I took the job as a head coach. I didn't think I could do it. I was already over 40 and the field monster was stopping me. Yo, Fart, you can't run no marathon. What you talking about? And I finally told that boy, shut up. And I started training. I ran 20, 30 miles a week with those young girls. All the coaches, none of them could run like I could. None of them were runners. They got on bicycles. And I didn't realize, and that was in the fall of 1996. By the first month in January 1997, I ran my first marathon. And when I saw this brother run across that line, and they say he was a teacher, a cross-country coach, and he was apprehensive about even doing it, and then he started running the marathons. I never trained to win a marathon. I always trained to just finish them. And I did 20 marathons in 1 decade. Shut up talking yourself out of what you can't do physically. Shut up talking yourself out of what you can't do mentally. Shut up talking yourself what you can't do for yourself spiritually. Because believe me, when you got the alignment in mind, body, and spirit, all the way up, nothing can stop you tonight. I'm going to tell you this GG factor. I'm a living witness. I don't think I'm extraordinary. I know I've done some extraordinary things. Because trust me, it wasn't easy. Even when I was a full-time teacher, I was still an entertainer, still coaching cross country. It wasn't until I finally had throat nodules. I had a surgery. The man looked at me and said, you're an incredible machine here. You teach all day, you coach in the afternoon, you're going through 3 or 4 gigs a night. Your voice has finally said it can't keep up with you. I finally stopped coaching. And even after 25 marathons, I finally had to stop because I had a meniscus surgery, on my left knee. I still walk. I told you earlier in this conversation, I walked 2.5 miles a day, multitasking, posting about this show tonight, posting about my show Thursday night. Here's the point. We all got 24/7, 168 hours a week as I wrap up the show tonight. We all got 24/7, 168 hours a week. What are you doing with them? Could you imagine just carving out, for the sake of, should I say, defining yourself, for the sake of you activating your true identity, for the sake of you saying, I'm going to function at my maximum potential, and you took 14 hours a week. And maybe you do need a mentor. Maybe you do need a coach like somebody like me. I've had mentors and spent thousands of dollars on them, and I do not regret one penny of it. Jim Rohn said it. Personal development is priceless. Tony Robbins said it. Personal development is something that's a lifelong job. I forgot Mel Robbins, another one. Oprah Winfrey. All of them are talking about what it means to stay in alignment with yourself and function at your maximum potential so you can be a better version of yourself. 14 hours a week tonight. Go to theactivator.net. Click the Get Activated community. I'm offering you the opportunity to come into the camp. If you take my 30, 60, 90-day challenge and you hang out with me for 30, 60, 90 days, I'm going to give you another month free. That's 1/4 of your life. You will never be the same. When Gregory Griffith took that kind of mindset, and Lord knows I wish I would have done it a lot earlier in my life, that I am mind, body, spirit, that I can always do more, but I know I got to give more. You see, each of us is an infinite amount of energy to reach our maximum potential. But you see, it's like a car. If you put the key in the ignition and you start the car and you never ever pull it and drive, you're going to stay there stuck. You got to get onto the highway to success. Somebody I'm talking to tonight, you need this. If you're feeling the crunch from cola, that cost of living allowance has got you. The elasticity of demand has stretched you to the end. You think J-Lo worried about that? Making $1 million a night? Most of us don't even have $1 million in net worth. That's a loaded question too. Are you worth $1 million? I'm not going to say you can ever make $1 million in one night like this young lady. But could you liquidate everything you got and walk away with $1 million? Wouldn't that be a very realistic, attainable goal for you to come into my camp, take the personal assessment and say, you know, I know where Greg coming from. I'm worthy. I'm worth it. It matters to me. It should matter to you that you don't even have to worry about inflation because you got passive income. You don't have to worry about cola because you understand that you can monetize your passion forever. It might be a restaurant. It might be a computer sales company. It might be opening your mechanic shop. It might be a hair salon. It might be a school for tutoring people. Are y'all feeling me right now? And you find something you just love to do. You don't worry about what's going on out there around you because you're so grounded. You're so in alignment with yourself that you know that we live in an abundant universe. We live in an abundant universe. And just as God provides for the bird that fly in the sky, why not you and I? Come on, somebody. Come on. Just as God provides for the birds that fly in the sky, you think he's going to deny you and I? But it's mindset. And I think his name was Joe Martin. Where's that guy's name? I want to give him so much prop tonight. Let me look for that paper. Yes, sir. His name is Nathan Martin. I don't know Nathan's age, but boy, he fired me up. He reminded me what it feels like when you're just passionate about something. And the way that man came across that line, the Ethiopian dropped dead. He fell down on the floor and like he had passed out. We thought he had died. The brother was still standing, holding his hands up, saying, "All glory to God." And when they finally interviewed him, he said, "It's my mindset." What's your mindset like? Have you activated a winner's mindset? IG, have you activated your winner's mindset? Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. There's only abundance in the universe. There's no lack. There is no lack. You have to keep telling yourself, yes, I can, yes, I will, yes, I must. Trust the process. But remember what J-Lo said. She went through a few marriages. She said, my compromise, my acceptance, and my tolerance was hitting below the belt. Are you compromising on the job you're on right now? Are you compromising in a personal relationship you're in right now? And guess what? Are you compromising with me, myself, and I? Woo! I think that caused me to sip my tea again. I'm speaking truth tonight. We've only been online about, what, a good 40 minutes? And everything I'm sharing with you, if you take 10% of it and implement a new strategy, you come into my camp and give up 14 hours a week, 30 minutes of spiritual growth, 30 minutes of physical activity, and 1 hour of cognitive expansion. That's 2 hours a day times 7, 14 hours a week. And you just persistently and consistently carve out that ISIS won't matter to you. The war won't matter to you. You will be so oblivious to all of that. You wake up with an agenda. You wake up fired up. You wake up focused. And you see against all odds, yes, I can. Yes, I will. Yes, I must trust the process. Because while everybody else worried about money, somebody making money. Somebody's still making money. They develop their intellectual properties. They find out what's a non-negotiable about what people got to have no matter what. People got to eat. Open a restaurant. People got to sleep. Open a hotel. People got to go to school, become a tutor. I remember when I went back to graduate school, I got my undergraduate degree from FAMU in 1976. Fast forward, 1991. My son, Jonathan, 1 year old, I said, I'll never be in this situation again in my life after what I went through with my older son, Greg Jr. I was a kid with a kid. I remember taking my son to college with me, but I refused to quit college because I know there's two things that are always and always will be dominant for success in life: higher education or entrepreneurship, or both. When you got both, you'll never go wrong. I started my corporation in 1992. I started teaching in 1992. 1 year later, when I walked into a gig as a professional musician, and I realized they grabbed me where it hurts. They've hit below the cat line. Meow. And I started screaming like a cat. My compromise, my acceptance, my tolerance hit below the line. So I had to develop the tack attack, the tenacity and the audacity to function in the capacity. When you get that tack, you don't worry about the cat. They can meow at you all they want. You know, hitting you below the line with compromise, hitting you below the line with acceptance, hitting you below the line with your tolerance, because you got tenacity and the audacity to function in the capacity. You carve out the time. You be persistent and consistent about it. I did it. I did it to run marathons. I did it to go to graduate school. My job was taken from me as a musician, told me I had another one the next week. I come to go to work. My agency don't have a job for me, but I still got a mortgage. I got a brand new BMW. I got several musicians responsible for their paychecks for me every week. And I got my brand new baby, a year old. And my son, who was 18 at that time. And I'm here to tell you something. I'm speaking truth to you right now. The walls closed in, but I stopped. I had to be still and say, what do I love to do? I can still make money. I don't have to give up my passion for this industry I'm in, and I can do this. And oh boy, I found out for an African-American man to become a teacher in America, you would never want for a job. And I loved substitute teaching back then. I was a full-time musician. I come off the road. I could pick up a few days to self-teach. And then I fell in love with the exceptional student population. And then I found out, and this is who I'm talking to tonight, find an area where there's a critical shortage and there's a demand, like nursing. There is a demand for medical care in so many arenas that you will always have a job. There's a demand in education in certain regions in this country where you'll always have a job. There are certain sectors that are always going to be in demand. You don't want to go into anything saturated. You don't want to do that. You want to find where there's a non-negotiable demand for a service you want to render. I decided to become a teacher. So someone I'm talking to tonight, maybe you're on a job. Don't quit your job. Don't tell that lie I told you to quit your job, because you don't have to. I never quit my job for 31 years as a teacher. I started my corporation the same year in 1992. And by 1997, I was buying properties. But not even 10 years later, I had about 5 or 6 houses, a strip mall, an apartment building, a condo on the beach. Yeah, I went through some, you know what, some it. I ain't going to put the SH in front of it. Yeah, COVID hit. Yeah, I had to take the pivot. But you know what I was so glad of? I was a teacher. I still had residual income from the apartment building. Who am I talking to? If the whole economy collapsed, what service can you render that people still want tonight on this GG Factor? You ought to be brainstorming that right now. And I want to leave you with that. I've given you examples, real life people who are doing things that are extraordinary beyond what we could ever even begin to imagine. We started with our economy with the present administration. They say it's costing about $1 billion a day for war. Somebody making money from that war. They say it costs. That means something being spent. Somebody's getting wages from it. Get you some government contracts. Mr. Griffith's working on that. Start your nonprofit. Do you realize that there is over $1 billion a year that they're just not even able to disperse because people aren't applying for it? So what did the present administration do? Oh, they don't want to come and get this money. We're going to cut the money back. They cut it. Trying to give you some food for thought tonight. I told you, I asked you, are you want to be one of the ones ahead of the trends? That no matter what the economy doing, you're 2 steps ahead of it. The lady's name is Angela. I can't even call her last name. But boy, I spoke about her about a few weeks ago, and she's so relevant to this conversation. This woman was in prison. This woman was pregnant. This woman got out of prison. Her daughter, who she had to leave with her mother, then her mother left her with her grandmother. 2 generations of people. She couldn't keep her daughter in prison. Mom got her for a minute. Then grandmama got her for a minute. Granddaddy got her. Got out, got her daughter, went through everything in the world you could imagine, but she had a passion for helping people. And that's all she ever wanted to do. And now she helps homeless people find shelter. She's got all kind of funding. She runs all these GoFund campaigns, and she's got such a passion for it. See that? That's an example. She found a need and she satisfies it. Find your need. I'm on a humanitarian cause. People are always going to get sick. They're going to need help physically and mentally. Over 1 million people, I see it every week, right here in Broward County, went to the hospital for some kind of illness. You don't want to be one of those. You want to be the alternative. I'm 71 years old now. I don't ever mind telling anyone my age. If I didn't have a meniscus surgery 5 years ago, I'll still be running marathons. I retired from the school system, but I activated entrepreneurship. I'm still in the entertainment business. Just had a performance last week. Just did a great gala for Valentine's Day. And I forget I get paid to do that. Make sure it's a passion, because the universe, that P3 theory, will hear you. Once again, and not sounding redundant, we live in an abundant universe. So I'm going to wrap that up tonight. Shout out again to my man, Nathan Martin. I got to tell you, woo, a substitute teacher, a cross-country coach in high school. I was a high school coach. I was a teacher, and I was running cross-country, and then I started running marathons. But you know, here's my metaphor about marathons tonight before we wrap up. Life is a marathon. And just like a marathon, you got to know how to run it. You got to know how to train for it. You got to find the discipline for it. There are 26 miles in a marathon. There are 26 alphabet in the ABCs. I have 26 strategies that I'll share with you that will take you from wherever you are now to the next level. It will. I know it will because I can quantify it. I know it will, and I know it works. You find your light under the sun. You find what you want to do to make money, even if you got your job. But don't get a job that you don't love. See, I just stopped teaching so I could do this. My teaching certificate is still active to 2029. I could go knock on the door and go out there and get me $75,000, $80,000 tomorrow. Once again, there's a cohort. Male teachers, and especially African Americans, a unique cohort. Small percentile in this whole country. I can pack up and go anywhere in this country, and I'm bound to find a job. I got the credentials. Get your credentials. My 26 A to Z strategies will be shared with you. We'll take your personal assessment. My Scribe Masterclass is based on this premise. The word Scribe is an acronym for me. Study, try, remember, innovate, visualize, and educate yourself forever. IG, I'm going to look you over there in the face tonight and say, study, try, remember, innovate, visualize, and educate yourself forever. Facebook, YouTube, tonight, I'm saying it with deep sincerity. If you study it, you try your very best with it, you remember, retain, and recall as much as you can, you be innovative, you have initiative, you do it with intention, you visualize your success, you see yourself where you want to be yourself before you wreck yourself, and you continue. I'm 71 and I'm still thinking about getting my doctorate. I'm thinking about it. I'm still going to get certified in nutrition because I'm trying to understand how this body works. I saw this young lady, Miss Tomei is her name. She's an actress. And this woman, Dr. Gundry, another one, they're like YouTube geeks, man. They give you all this good old free information about brain food, polyphenols, probiotics, what type of green leafy vegetables to eat, what kind of foods to stay away from. Did you know that junk food just gives you like almost brain cancer? I'm like you too, man. I ain't gonna lie. I hated to hear that because I like Cheetos. It's hard for me to stop even eating Bluebell. But all jokes aside, in moderation. And they all talk about it. I love me some fried seafood in moderation. I can't eat fried food every day. I can't eat Bluebell every day. I can't go to McDonald's every day. That fast food is killing us. 60 Minutes had a special about it. If you can go back and archive it and see it, oh boy, it will blow you away. The man had all of the fast foods and all the junk foods that you could imagine stacked up, saying all of these are leading you to a road of death, early death, even contributing to Alzheimer's. They're saying it's all genetic now. It could be in your diet. There are 6.7 million people in America with Alzheimer's disease, and they're still trying to see what can be done. And it's being a breakthrough now. They're changing their diets, and people are getting their memory back. They're having breakthroughs. But I'm suggesting preventive measures. You notice all the things we're talking about from a heterogeneous perspective tonight. That's why I love the GG Factor. We talked about health. We talked about education. We talked about the politics that's going on around us. We talked about why mind, body, and spirit matters tonight. We talked about why your P3 theory will take care of you and keep you ahead of the game. I'm going to leave you with that tonight. Come into my camp. Just go to theactivator.net. Click the Get Activated community. Get somebody to help you. You know if you're a procrastinator. You know it. You know who you are. You know who I'm talking to. I start with music. I end with music. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it tonight. This has been an Out of Sight 55 minutes to get in it. Hey, every Tuesday night, whether I got a guest or not, I'm going to be here. And in 2 weeks, he's coming here, and I'm just wondering if next week's guest is going to cancel him out. When you get cancellations, there's nothing you can do about it. But my man Trey, I had to reschedule him because I got a performance. my intellectual property, my P3. Where's your P3, baby? Maybe it's music like me. Maybe it's like you can bake carrot cakes. Maybe you got a special ice cream family. Maybe you're a fitness guru. Maybe you want to open up your facility. Shout out to Carl Brown's sister, Carla Brown. Woo! Boy, that sister opened her facility many years ago, and she never stopped, and now she's smoking. I've been trying to get her on this show to tell her, to get her to tell all of you all what she done against all odds. I'm giving you relentless examples. The earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. Just remember this as I leave you tonight. Your mind, body, and spirit. Find the alignment. Because if you live with imbalance, you're living with organized chaos. If you live with imbalance, you're living with organized chaos. And that will lead to something very detrimental. Sickness. Sickness in your mind, sickness in your body, and sickness in your spirit. So until the next time, my friends, which will be Thursday night, the Strive Masterclass, relationships, the who, what, when, where, and how to discover your what, your WHY. So until then, I'm going to say good night. Thank you so very much for being with us. Man, what a great time. I can't believe it's been like almost an hour and it just went by like nothing. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh boy. Hey, go out and tell somebody about the activator.